Okay, so obviously your shock shouldn't sound like that. I'm going to be getting this thing serviced by Full Flow Suspension in Auburn. It's a new suspension service center that just opened up. It's about 25 minutes away from where I live. I'm hoping that it's just full of air and we can do a quick rebuild on it and get it ready for SoCal. This is Mike, owner of Full Flow. He's going to be servicing my shock. Alright, so Mike's got all the settings recorded, so get it back to normal once we're finished.
Heck yeah.
Taking all the air out before we pop this thing open. I didn't have these tools when I was doing it myself.
Yeah, it does help to have.
Oh, it helps a ton to have the right tools. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. This one's all nice and safe too, because it's got this
Yeah, you're not going to
guard, so you're not going to hit your body at all.
Yeah, when I did it, I had like a bicycle tube wrapped around it to protect it and get enough traction on the shock.
Actually borrowed that from Instagram. Saw some engineer made himself one.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh. So I can have my buddy make me one of those. It's not too ugly,
No, not too bad.
but definitely not enough fluid.
Yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, shock's all pulled apart now.
Here are the two tubes of our twin tube damper. I'm gonna take it apart so I could just check everything out, make sure you're not, so we can lay all this out too if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
So what are we taking apart right here?
So this is your main piston here.
Okay.
We're gonna pull that off, and underneath we will find the valve shim stack.
Okay.
There it is. This is where the magic happens. So this here is your shim stack on your mid valve of your Float X2. And basically what this is it's a variable orifice. So as fluid pressure flows in through these three ports, these shims right here act as essentially leaf springs, and they flex upward and then provide resistance back towards the oil. So the amount of flex and resistance back towards the oil is going to be how much damping force that your shock is exerting.
Right.
Back. Yeah, that one inner ring right there is the same here. So that's going to match the diameter of your clamp shims here, and that's kind of what's causing that.
Okay.
So I totally have all these too. And we're just going to do it so you don't break any down the road.
So Mike was just saying that some of my shims are looking a little worn, so we're gonna replace a few of them. So what do we got here?
So this is one of the cartridge assemblies out of the Float X2, the RVS system. So what we got going on here is we've got this spring, which kind of lands on that there valve seat. And this spring and the tension on the spring is what's gonna affect the high-speed damping of your shock. On the inside in here, right here where that little guy is right there, that's going to be a needle valve, and that is going to be your low speed damping. So when you turn the 3mm hex on the inside of your adjusters, that essentially closes this port off, and the more it's closed, the more low speed damping. And alternatively, when you dial this 6mm in, you're adding spring tension to this spring, which is going to add high speed damping.
Okay. high-speed rebound damping, right?
Correct. And if it were on the compression adjuster, it would be high-speed compression.
Yep.
For the spring.
So does the compression, is it like the same basic piece, or?
On the non two-position ones, yeah, they're very, very similar in nature. Obviously, the flow paths of the two different adjusters are unique, so when the shock is compressing, there's a check valve that only allows fluid to flow up through the compression, and then vice versa, when the shock is on its rebound stroke, check valve blocks fluid from going through the compression side, only allowing it to use the rebound adjuster.
All right.
That's part of the circulatory motion of the twin tube damper.
Gotcha.
Low speed adjuster needle, as you can see I'm backing it out, opening that orifice. And when you thread it in, it's just going to close it off. So we have pulled the low speed adjuster needle out of the rebound cartridge assembly. So these two guys here are your detent balls, which are backed up by this spring in the center, and that's what gives you your click, click, click on your adjustments. If you ran out of clicks, don't keep turning it. There probably aren't any more. And this is probably definitely where we were getting air in the shock. As we can see, we've got dirt on both sides of this seal, meaning it's probably not doing its job so well anymore. And this is your two-position compression cartridge assembly for the Float X2.
So we're just going to open this up and replace a couple more seals like the rebound cartridge. So if this wasn't the two position, would it just look pretty much identical?
It would look identical to this guy, but blue instead of red. Same thing on the spring, little blue coating so you can't mix them up.
Gotcha.
There's a thrust bearing right there, which is a pretty cool guy. That's what keeps everything turning smooth.
Alright, so we got the seals replaced on this guy. Looked like there was probably some more air getting through there. Gonna put it back in the shock.
Cartridge is back in, so now we're gonna slowly assemble the rest of the pieces and then get it ready to vacuum bleed.
Sweet. So you just have those torque settings memorized, or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you torque enough of them, you kind of just remember what it's supposed to be at.
So what's it doing right now?
So this is basically, this is your vacuum machine. So what it's doing is it's emptying all of the air out of the inside of the shock, and then it will replace that with fluid. Perfect bleed, no air in the damper every time.
You don't want air in your damper.
Nope, air does not act the same way as the shock fluid does inside. So if you have air in your damper, you are not getting the full capabilities of your damper, nor is it working properly.
Alright, just did a full rebuild. All the seals replaced, fresh bleed on it. It's looking good. Can't wait to try it out. All those measurements are from closed, and
which in the closed position, 98% of the time is going to be fully clockwise.
And why do we measure it from closed?
We measure from closed for a couple of reasons. One, it gives us a standard for everybody to kind of work off of, so we kind of know what's going on. And then, typically speaking, when you close an adjuster, it's more often than not bottoming out on something, and therefore it's a little bit safer to kind of bump it up against something as opposed to continually backing it out too far. So that's why we go from full close.
Got the shock back on there. Gonna eat a couple of burritos and then go for a little ride.
Yep, it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah. Got set up high on that one. Oh, the big downed one?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I tried.
Yeah, I saw you went.
To scrub that jump a little like inside, so I didn't like get so kicked, and I just a little too wide on the bars there.
Yep. Just telling Mike that the shock feels good. Super stoked on it. You want to say anything about?
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's looking for some suspension service in the area, we're open in Auburn from Monday through Friday from 10 to 6, Saturdays from 11 to 5. So come check us out, and we can help you get your suspension rolling smooth again.
Anybody across the country?
You can mail in. You guys can check out the website. I'm sure we'll put up a link on the YouTube video. And yeah, anybody can mail in or drop stuff off direct, and we'll get you going.
Yeah, sick, man. Yeah. That was awesome.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for
thank you
taking care of it and that ride. That was fun.
Definitely.